Welcome back to the Flashing Badger podcast. You are joining us on a very spooky special episode 4 of us playing Public Access. And joining me is the terrifying
Mike,
the horrifying
Fitz,
and the spectral.
Hey, it's Wegs.
Well, he's not got the tone there, but apart from that, thank you for being with us. My name is Gordon. I will be your DM for today. Cue the music.
Flashing Badger, Flashing Badger, alright. Flashing Badger.
You join us, episode 4 of Public Access, and the crew have just come back from investigating at the camp. Dawn has turned into night. The group are back at their home. They're too scared to do anything at nighttime, so they've come back to watch one of their tapes. Just in one sentence, is there anything you're planning to do tonight while you're watching the tape, Ray?
Yeah, I'm feeling nostalgic. It's been a tough few days and I need to sort of process everything that's happened over the last few days. So it'd be good to bond and reminisce over old times with my new 2 best friends.
Stacey?
Stacey's going to eat some sour straps and drink a Mountain Dew.
Stacey has the same diet as Mike.
Oh, she said Stacey.
So are you going to engage in any kind of activity, or are you just focused on watching the tape?
What benefit will I get from partaking in such nostalgia?
Well, you can remove a condition, or you can just investigate further if you'd like to.
Oh, that's right. We can do those sorts of things. Yeah, tell you what, I will investigate, and my quick summary of it will be that I just jump into the forum online and see if there's been any new posts over the last 48 hours.
Okay, perfect. Brandon?
Yeah, I do the same, but I actually start to investigate as best as I can online what type of bones it is that Daniel discovered. Like, I recognize them a bit as human bones, but I'm sort of trying to figure out where exactly, are they finger bones, hand bones, stuff like that, and are they definitely human?
You're going to borrow my laptop, and that's going to upset me so much. I'm going to look over your shoulder the whole time.
So we're going to watch an Odyssey tape now, and the tape is going to be called Happy Jack 6, Duress Signal, ? Pure White Pretext, ? You'll see there's 4 scenes there. I'll go first, and then we'll go around the table. The tape gets pushed into the machine, and with a clunk and a whir, the VCR starts spooling up. And this tape is an episode of Happy Jack the Lumberjack and Friends. It's a children's show that aired on TV Odyssey. And after some brief credits music that sounds like it's been played out of a tape recorder held off camera, the episode opens on a scene where Happy Jack, who's this crude wooden puppet with a flannel shirt and a knit hat and with a plastic axe taped to his hand, is comforting his friend Lucy, who's portrayed by a real-life 12-year-old girl who's crying. And this episode's supposed to be taking place in the forest where Happy Jack works, but the set is clearly in someone's poorly decorated basement. And the question is, what do you see in the background that would be out of place in a real-world forest? And I'm going to say there's the trees, that are just cutouts and clearly two-dimensional, and there's the astroturf or the fake grass just laid down on the ground to be that, and there's even fake clouds painted on a cinder block wall. In the sort of middle, small enough, it's clearly only 6 or 8 feet behind where Jack and Lucy are standing, there's a little miniature model that's been made for this. And the miniature model is made out of what looks like a painted ice cream tub and some bits of like wire coat hanger and things. But again, getting your face close to the screen, it's exactly looks like the TV Odyssey building that you've seen in that one picture you have. And it's from the same angle. It's from the same everything. And it's odd that it's placed in the middle of this forest, which is obviously not where it ever was in real life, if it ever was there at all. Ray, tell us what you're doing tonight. Who are you sharing your moment with?
Brandon and I are going to share a glass of whiskey and reminisce on what it's like having imperfect parents.
I feel like Brandon is more a raspberry vodka cruiser lad.
Yes.
All right.
You've summed that up perfectly.
Yeah. I hold out a bottle of like wild turkey and I say, hey kid, interested? And you sort of go, thanks, I brought my own. And yeah, it's like something a 16-year-old girl would drink behind her parents'
Lemon
back.
Ruskies in
like
2004.
Yes.
An alco pop of some type. Yeah, lemon ruskies, for sure.
Yeah.
WKDs.
Yeah, and out of solidarity with you, I'll join you in
Blue ones.
yeah, blue.
I just want to list more.
I'm
We're
wondering-
going to get a couple more out of our system. UDLs.
Oh my God, UDLs.
Woodstocks.
What are the two of you talking about?
We're talking about what it's like being brought up with parents who are maybe well-intentioned, maybe they have the best hopes for us, but we can never quite live up to their exacting standards. And Brandon's sharing with me what it's like having the local sheriff as a father, and I'm sharing about how I wanted to be a chef from a young age. My father said that's no job for a real man. And so we're sort of bonding and airing our grievances with the way we were brought up.
Is there a sort of wash-up? Is there some element of your childhood that you bond over the two of you? Is there some particular connective tissue beyond your parents being who your parents were?
We get to talking about what it's like having a driven man for a father, and the conversation flows onto law enforcement and strong masculine men hunting the evil in the world. And as all good conversations do, it heads straight to Twin Peaks, the 1989 show, David Lynch. And the question, who killed Laura Palmer? It gets us a bit wistful, thinking about the fight of good and evil in the world. It all gets very philosophical, as conversations based on vodka cruises always do.
And a show that has famously positive male role models for the two of you, I think, in law enforcement as well, with
Yeah, absolutely.
Dale Cooper and Sheriff Truman and everything. They're both manly men without being, emotionally absent. So do you feel like the two of you bond and learn over this? Or
Yeah.
I think so.
And find some peace with our past.
Okay.
Maybe even just a tiny bit, and maybe just even for tonight, but it's good nonetheless.
So you can each remove a condition as long as it doesn't say next victim.
Yeah, so I've got, that's it for me. So Brandon, by all means.
I'm going to remove outcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I think that's
the
as much a mental change as it is a sociological change. So Wegs, read me prompt number 2 from the tape.
Happy Jack explains that Lucy is sad because her parents abandoned her in the forest. What did Lucy do to make her parents stop loving her? This might be a touch dark, so let me know. But Lucy is sobbing and is inconsolable. And she says to Happy Jack that her parents couldn't love her anymore because it was too hard for them because she was so sick. And then just for a split second as the tape plays, it cuts to Lucy in a hospital bed, completely wired up to machines and drips, completely void of any hair on her head or eyebrows. And then it cuts straight back to the children's show with the puppets.
And I want to make clear that the real Lucy in that children's show has hair and everything, but she is like inconsolably sobbing. This is not a child pretending to be sad on Sesame Street.
my God.
This is a very, very sad child.
Yeah, this is too real. This is too real.
Great. On that uplifting note, we move to Brandon. Brandon, what? I know you were doing some internet research.
Yeah, Brandon is going online. He's checking these things, trying to solve this mystery. He's formulating an idea in his head about what happened. And he doesn't really do much else. He's enjoyed the conversations he's had with Ray. He's sitting back. He's getting a little bit tipply on his pineapple UDLs and vodka cruises. And, he's just going through. No more real revelations off the bones things, but he's happy. He's feeling a little bit safe and content for the first time in a while. And in his mind, he thinks he's starting to understand what's going on down at the lake.
Okay. So read prompt 3 for me.
Happy Jack suggests Lucy should take revenge on her parents when she finally gets home. He demonstrates the manner of revenge on another puppet character, Sylvester the Squirrel. What does Happy Jack do to Sylvester? And this is where this show gets real dark. Happy Jack describes in detail to Lucy the type of medicine that she should get from the cabinet that she should put into her mummy and daddy's drink at dinner that night when they're not looking. And then he goes to demonstrate with his little plastic toy axe and fake red streamers and tomato sauce blood that when they've fallen asleep from the medicine she's given them, she should go out to the shed and grab that axe and hit them both in the head as many times as she can.
Wow.
The game isn't scary. We're scary.
Maybe we're the real monsters.
You're the monster, Dr. Frankenstein.
Stacey.
Stacey's jumping online. She's refreshing the forum to see if there's anything new. But importantly, while she can't copy the VHS tape, she's going to upload a new post about her claims to have seen one and what it included.
Can you roll me a night move, please? And before you do, I'd like for you to tell me what you think will happen if this goes wrong, you uploading about this tape.
I think what could possibly go wrong for me is that there's someone out there who's watching who at the moment sees this as just harmless people just making claims that can't be verified. But suddenly there's going to be a 100% accurate description of one of the tapes. And so I'm going to attract the attention of someone who's going to try and make me disappear.
I'm going to say it's worse than that, in that whatever might read that information already knows where you are.
Don't like that. I don't like that.
Someone from the library. Great. You want a night move?
Yes, please.
It's a 4.
You put this description, this very detailed description of the tapes you've watched so far out on the internet. And you sit there frantically refreshing on your dial-up internet, refreshing the forum to see if there's any replies. And after about 15 minutes, your post disappears. It's just gone, like it was never there. And there were no views logged or anything yet. And then you immediately get a private message through the forum's private messaging. And the private message has the current address in it of the house on Rodenbecker Street.
Number 26.
And a few seconds go by, another one pings in. And this one has never share. Another one pings in that says, you've made a mistake.
I could have put all of that in one message.
But they wanted you to hear your message tone. And you feel a little bit perturbed by this, especially with your real address out there. Working in IT, you know this should be reasonably secure. And then your phone rings. You going to answer it?
No, because I might even stop you there. This has spooked me out so much that you've caused me to use another key of desolation to avoid this outcome. I've already hit quick load as things were unraveling.
Yep.
So
He's hitting F5 and F9 every minute that we play.
yes. The key of desolation I'm using is called the Wandering Monolith. You can now seek out the big man. How do you make contact with him? The big man can be consulted like any other side character. When you do so, roll with sensitivity. On a 7 to 9, you gain 1 clue. He will reveal it in a way that reflects his current disposition. On a 10 plus, as above, but you gain 2 clues. On a miss, you must mark the next box on the key of desolation.
So you put your post up, and there's still going to be a complication here. The post goes live, and this time within a few minutes, you're getting responses to this. I'm the first to like, hey, no way. That's incredible. I can't believe it. But there are, as many of those are skeptical posts about that you're just a fantasist. Your cred has kind of helped you a bit here that you've been on the forum for a long time, but there's still a lot of people who disbelieve this. You're basically describing like you've met Bigfoot in the wild or been abducted by aliens. It's a pretty big deal for these people. And then you get a message. And the message says, delete this.
Can I see the username or is it not included?
Doesn't show. And you can gain the condition monitored.
Luckily, I already have a little bit of healthy paranoia about me and assume I'm always being monitored.
It's true. I'd like you read prompt 4, please.
The episode ends and the screen fades to black, but audio can still be heard. Lucy whispers something to anyone who might be watching. What does she say? Lucy has been sick with an illness, and then she's gone to poison or drug her parents. I think it's fitting for this type of video that it ends with Lucy reciting Ring-a-Ring-a-Rosie.
As all creepy children do.
Not bad. Rosie.
And I like that she's still sobbing when the screen fades to black, but the voice is just like Ring-a-ring-a-Rosie.
Someone clearly puts the puppet down and moves off screen, and obviously there's no hand anymore. Just as it's about to turn off, you see a slight movement in the ads. Just a very little.
It starts to sit up and then black.
It's horrible, and I don't like any of you anymore because
Any
you're
of it.
frightening people. So it's now coming back into the dawn and the day of day 3 of having this investigation. As you wake up, I know between episodes you talked to me about wanting to answer a question. So the way you solve a mystery in this game is you use the answer a question action, where essentially you have a conversation, you come up with a theory, and then you roll a dice, add the number of clues you've got, and that's our sort of modifier. And the solution is either true or not true, depending on how you roll. So who'd like to go first in giving me some kind of coherent solution? And remember, maybe not all of these clues are relevant. It might be that, something that you found was related to something else, but...
I'll go first.
So the question is obviously, is this...
Who killed Laura Palmer?
Is this a horrid beast, or is it a transformed Jessica Stowski?
My suggestion is that it is a beast that was summoned by one of the camp counselors while they were working, but only for those 4 years. And so there was going to be a beast take somebody every year that the person was working as a counsellor at the camp. And it's just that the camp was shut down, which prevented more victims.
Do you want to briefly run us through how the clues tie into that?
It'll be a bit disjointed because I'm working through the clues more chronologically rather than the timeline, but the bones under the pier. So to summon the beast, to summon this entity, it needs to be, the lake is like a conduit, a portal almost, to where this beast is from. Hence the feeling of detachment and isolation and the atmosphere when you're there. It requires significant sacrifice from the summoner, hence the bones under the pier. It requires one bone from the summoner and one from somebody else, not necessarily the victim, but in return, though that's part of the ritual. Every victim will need to be marked somehow, hence the photo of the victims or wearing that particular bracelet. So each victim needs to be identified to the beast. Jessica knew she was involved and she sort of figured it out, hence her diary, I am next, I am next. She knew she'd been marked, but really couldn't do anything about it. As time's gone on, the person summoning the beast has become more lax with the ritual. Part of the ritual requires that a post is erected and a symbol is etched into the post. The summoner effectively couldn't be bothered doing it on the last time. Hence, there's only 3 posts in the water, except we have 4 victims. So as time's gone on, the rituals become less and less effective. The map is so this is why. So Joey was attempted to be dragged under the water, but the beast wasn't summoned properly, and there'd been the beast's ability to remain intact in our plane of existence, shall we say, has been less effective, which is why just a particularly good swimmer could get away from the beast, because the ritual had been less and less well undertaken.
I think that covers all the clues.
I think that covers all the clues.
Okay.
Happy to have holes poked in my theory and also to use it as a launching platform for others to build on as I see fit.
Brandon, you're up next. Well, this is an open discussion, so you can beg, borrow, or steal any part. This is about finding the right answer. This isn't about winning.
Having used mine was pretty much mirrored exactly that. It's a few different categories, but basically similar. I was sort of thinking that Deep Lake, which is the name of the town, is based on the lake, which is incredibly deep. So deep that there are creatures that live there. One creature in particular, a half humanoid, half fishman type thing. It has been there since time immemorial. The 3 posts in the water were actually the remnants of an old structure, an old attempt at one stage to even capture the beast. But unfortunately, they've been maybe no good at an attempt to even get to the bottom of the lake to see the beast more normally. As the years went on, a ritual developed where there was a yearly almost sacrifice to the beast. The beast was a manhunter. It ate people. It ate whatever. Hence the ritual and all that developed around the sacrifice, and hence the ritual circle close to the water on the same time every year. Even though it was a lake, the water would move, the darkness of the water, the strange water would move, the ritual circle would be exposed, and the one sacrificial person would be given to the beast, who would then take it and eat them or do what they would have. Very similar to what you were saying, but with the photograph, what it wasn't actually fearful to be sacrificed to the beast. It was actually an honor. And those who were given the honor, the group that was given the honor, were tagged, basically. That's hence the bracelets. They were all next. They knew that they were next. And that's what Jessica was writing. She was actually excited to be next. She was the last of all her friends over the last few years. The ritual occurred in summer. That's where it was. So she was actually excited to be next. However, after Jessica, her father was unaware of, and her mother were unaware of the ancient dark arts that went on, and they caused such a ruckus that the camp shut down. And the camp was built around the sacrifice in the old sort of cult community itself. So the camp shuts down, and there's no more sacrifice to the beast. And because of that, because it wasn't getting its yearly sacrifice, the beast started to climb up. It started to get less trained and less fruitful, and hence public swimmers coming past, such as even Joey or others who've been attacked by this beast out of time or out of whack, is because it hadn't been fed properly. The map with the symbols and the eyes, they were places that you could go around the map where you could witness from, where you could witness the sacrifice or meet for the cult bits where you had to stand with certain things or whatever, and you could watch the beast come out at a certain time every year. That's what I was thinking.
So is it that the campers were inducted at the camp itself? It's not, the wider community doesn't know about it. It's just
the camp itself was getting the children young, and the select children young were the cult itself. And the bones washing up, under the pier, they're the bones of all the sacrifices over years that the town's been whatever. The camp started as a way to induct and select those sacrifices. This has been going on
centuries or dozens of years?
Since people came to the lake.
Fair enough. Stacey, thoughts?
Oh, these are good.
I really like the idea that the cult are kind of in on it. Like the camp is a front,
and
effectively.
Billy, who was a kid here, and even though this isn't a clue, I was going down the pub, that Billy, the owner, has reopened the camp so as to help sacrifice to the deep one again.
Oh, so you're saying he's not just an unwitting businessman.
No,
he's the next generation.
He's the next generation. He's in on it, which is why he's so keen to have the camp going on, and why he's so keen to get rid of Mr. Stowski and stuff like that.
Well, this could be a good tie-in for Stacey's theory.
So does Stacey believe it's a beast as well, or if it's a transformed Jessica?
Stacey thinks that the real monster here is Billy James.
Ooh.
Stacey has been piecing it together, and she believes that Billy James was actually one of the kids on camp back in 1993.
I like Johnny, Carlos, or Liz.
So alongside Jessica. And so Billy was different. Billy had an evil streak to him, and his parents identified that early on, and they sent him to the camp for these different counselors and support workers to try and identify the evil in him, because at home he'd been like harming their pets, things like that. And they're like, we need to send him away with these groups of people and make him normal again. But when he was there, he befriended a girl named Jessica, but then she was mean to him, and all the other kids laughed at him. And he took Jessica out for a walk beside the lake one night, and then he snapped and he dragged her into the water and he drowned her. Then there was the mystery surrounding it, and it looked like a murder rather than anything spiritual or ritual. Immediately after he'd done it, he started to go wild, and he ran back to Loon, the cabin, and grabbed her diary, and he filled out more bits. And Jessica always got ahead in her diary and wrote all the page dates, because she liked to plan out in advance, and it kept her to one page or one paragraph. And so the handwriting changed and looked different because he filled those ones in, saying, I'm going to be next, I'm going to be next. The handwriting was different. Then he didn't stop his killing. Years later, like, he felt a relief and he felt normalized by killing somehow. So he did it again.
Right.
And there was a detective in town. One of the detectives from the big city came down and was investigating a serial killer. And so he started perpetuating this. It's a monster from within the lake. The lake is evil. And then it spirals into the fact where he buys the lake. He buys the camp, and he's continuing to kill. And this is an avenue for him to do it.
Right.
He has access to the kids. He has the control of the camp and the staff, and so he can kill that way. And this is his way of feeding his own hunger. So What's become interesting with it, though, is he initially put some things out. He put some bones in the water, being like, oh, yeah, this will make sense, and they won't be able to track it through science at the moment because it's 2004 and they didn't have some of those abilities. And he carves things and puts them in the trees. But he didn't make the ritual underwater where a mile from the camp. The story's taken its own legs, and the rest of the kids and everyone have started building on it. And now he sort of sits back and watches what he created. And old mate being pulled under the water and scratched and all that had nothing to do with it. So he just smirks, being like, this is just all fuel.
I'd like to caveat two things there.
What's that called where people start to believe it? Prophesizing sort of thing.
Yeah, folie à deux.
Is that it?
When
Yeah.
people who are together form insane beliefs that they hype each other up into. And I got two questions. Number one is, did Billy tap into some inherent evil that was already there? Like, did he unknowingly be called by these ritual signs that were maybe already in place?
So the way I had it is that we've all expected that this ties into the other supernatural things occurring in the country, that we're like, this must be linked. But this is one evil man, and that we're reading further into it. We've played into his game.
My second question is, Jessica was the fourth victim.
Yeah, it's just...
It's slightly more difficult to reconcile, I
Well,
think.
that could still work. It's just that you don't retcon it, but you just change it that Jessica was the last victim before the detective started poking his nose around.
That one.
So he killed the first kid, let's say it was Liz or whoever it was, and got the taste. Came back the next year. Maybe he was an early counsellor, young counsellor at the time, and this is how he got his taste for it. And every year he came back, and that's why they only do one a year.
That'd be a
Street
really
camp.
cool reveal going through the staff office, and we see that Billy was a kid on the camp.
Yeah, and then his
we
photos
see that
and everything,
Billy
yeah.
is now older teenager with a group of kids,
Yeah.
dragging the canoe out to the lake.
All right, team, let's circle back and synergize. Q3 has been a bloodbath. Our lazy yogurt is a bust. We need the next big thing, guys. Greg, your sweat and ambition, go.
Thank you, Ron. I've discovered something.
If it's another clear carbonated beverage, sit down.
It's not a product, it's a symbol.
We have symbols.
Not like this. I call it the Cool S.
It's just an S.
A Cool S?
That's the name?
It doesn't need another one.
It's just an S.
Yes, but it's how you draw it. You draw 3 lines, then 3 more.
That's 6 lines, Greg.
But now here is the magic. You join them diagonally across, down, across.
That's it. That's not magic. It's just geometry.
Why do I like it?
I'm not drawing that. Okay, I'm just testing it.
Oh no, I'm drawing one too.
Move. I need space.
It's so satisfying.
Why is it satisfying?
Mine's bold.
Mine's taller.
Are there rules to this?
There are no rules, Brad. Anyone could draw it. At school, on a desk, on a school desk.
There are clearly 6 lines, Greg.
This is synergy.
What does it do?
Nothing.
What does it mean?
Nothing.
Gentlemen, Linda, we don't sell it.
We release it.
Into the schools?
Into the world.
Greg, what have you done?
You're drawing it right now.
So on the basis of this, which theory do you want to choose? Which one do you want to take as gospel?
Can we hybridize a little bit? Because I think the evidence, certain things like the ritual circle, the posts with the cult markings, all that sort of stuff, that to me indicates there is a cult element. Is Billy maybe the leader of a select group of people who are doing this year after year and know how to play it strategically and know when the law enforcement are onto them and go, okay, we need to cool off for a few years and let things die down.
It's like hiring the sociopath as your chief executioner. It's
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
fulfills
that's
both
worked well.
needs at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. But my question is, there are some things which I think require more explanation, like Joey having the scratch marks down the back.
The only thing yours doesn't cover off on is the map.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
think
said
that-
he made it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. And he just put
So
it.
each of those things, I'm
Right,
like, they
gotcha,
can
gotcha.
be man-made
So
without.
that's him perpetuating the building on the
myth.
But we can use that as a proper
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
supernatural
I'm with
culty
you.
thing.
or maybe
I
they've...
I like the blend. I like the blend of the two. I think it's nice that Billy is a monster, and he's a figurative monster, and there is a literal monster as well that are sort of hybridized.
Perhaps the beast is almost Lovecraftian in that it doesn't really see us as any more than chattel, like flesh to be eaten, and Billy is the monster because he thinks it's more, that this thing is more than it actually is, and so summons it and worships it.
Yeah, it would take a monster to continually summon this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we left
like you said,
that thing alone, it would eventually die off or move into some other sort of existence. But he drags it back year after year with rituals and feeds it, thinking that this monster, that he and this monster have some connection. In reality, he's just playing with the Force. He genuinely doesn't understand, and that the beast would as soon turn on him as continue to be fed by him.
Great. I'm seeing a lot of nods around the table. So I'll get one of you, it doesn't matter which, to roll 2 dice for me. And what we do is we add the number of clues you have, which is +8, and we subtract the complexity of the mystery, which is 4. So we end up with a +4 to whatever you roll.
I haven't been rolling hot, so I'm not rolling.
No, there's no other modifiers except when we are done, if you wish to use a key, you can, but you all have to spend a key.
Oh, okay.
I've rolled a 5, so with our modifier, that is a 9 in total.
What do we need?
Or 7 to 9 will give you an unwelcome complication, or else following up the opportunity may become more dangerous.
Yeah, I think we sit with that.
Yeah,
because we can still pursue the opportunity. It's not like the opportunity is lost forever. It'll just become a bit more dangerous. So I actually think that will add to the fun of the
I thought you were
adventure.
going to burn a key for sure. I know you. Sure. I'm happy with that.
So I'm going to carry that complication forward because the next question is, and I think you've sort of answered this, but if it is a mystery, where is the creature's lair? So this is still going to require a discussion and a roll, but obviously we've got most of the pertinent facts, so it can be very brief.
What do we think about that circle in the water? So the entire lake is some sort of area where our world overlaps with its, but it can only come in and out through that circle.
But that's quite shallow. So I like the idea that it's not physically there, but that's the summoning point from where it
I think
enters our realm.
That's the altar. That's the bit they stand on and put the sacrifice for Kong.
Then you go stand in it and you can't see the creature or whatever, but you put everything in the right place and that's where it would emerge from its lair.
I was thinking something like the 3 posts were some sort of older structure, which was once an attempt to try and reach the creature's lair by whether or not it be a well-meaning group of people hunting it or worshippers, I don't know, but yeah, either one.
All right, so roll that again. It's the same rules. You're getting +4 on it.
I've rolled the exact same thing.
9 again.
So your opportunity now is that you can resolve the mystery by finding the bones of the bodies of the missing children. And if you wish, you need to find a way to contain the lurker or destroy it. There will be that will be difficult because of what's happened.
I feel we have a responsibility to continue.
Yeah, I think so.
Those listening that we take the gamble.
We take the gamble.
So in terms of the bodies, do you think, are they going to be found around that ritual circle that's buried, or are they going to be found, like, are the ones under the pier just there as bits and the majority of it will be under the ritual circle?
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling that, maybe 1 or 2 of the bones that wash up under the pier do actually, like with some forensic testing, they'll turn out to be, hey, this is the little finger of one of the missing kids, but we need more.
Yeah, it makes sense that they're all around the ritual side.
Yeah. But you're right.
The rest of them.
Yeah.
So is this going to be someone's going to put goggles on and wade in and get it?
Yep, we'll get Daniel to do that.
Before you...
You want to be a monster hunter kid?
Yep.
Yeah.
I put the dream catcher around my neck.
Oh, nice. And the other thing is, can I just float something? We have somebody in our team who is looking to reconnect with a family member in law enforcement. Is there some way we can get some assistance? Maybe some search and rescue type things.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think they're going to like that call from you.
I think the second I call them, they're going to be more keen to throw me in there.
No. But think about how you left things with Hayden. There's a desperate wish for reconnection, and like he had you at his mercy, and he said, you need to pull your head in and, watch yourself while you're here. He's desperate to see that you're a changed man and that you're now actually a force for good. If you could convince him to come down and maybe one other deputy, but come down and help out with some police search and rescue equipment
These are the same local police that have seemingly put an end to these investigations.
And I worry that if it goes pear-shaped and the complication is someone gets hurt and I've made my little brother get hurt. I don't think Dad will ever forgive me for that one.
Yeah, probably not.
But maybe this is a time of an opportunity for redemption.
We hang out online and we avoid official law enforcement and anything government related. So I think we'd be very hesitant to...
I'm happy to go in and look.
Okay.
I want to be a bit of a hero here.
Can't believe I wet my feet. I scurry back out.
Yeah, okay. If you see this as a chance for redemption...
I see this as a chance for redemption. I had an issue at the lake once. I want to make it up to my family and the town. Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy to go in and look for...
Okay.
You're immediately pulled underwater.
All right.
The
So
murky
you're-
blackness envelops you.
Is it just goggles and things? Is it you're going under? Is there...
Oh, yeah, because it's the camp equipment. Put
Yeah.
on a life preserver for me.
Yeah, no, I utilise the equipment around the camp.
Yeah, but it's not scuba tanks or anything, is it? It's just goggles and snorkel?
No, is there any sort of... Like, you know how they can get those ones from the side where you can just have a tube that you can hold and that the air compressor's pumped from the...
Oh,
from
yeah.
the
It's
pier
not
and stuff?
that kind of camp,
No, I
mate.
wouldn't have thought so.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I'll give you a snorkel.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a snorkel.
I have a snorkel.
Okay. So you two are standing on the shore and he's making his way into the water?
We've got
Taking-
the rope tied around your ankle just in case.
Yeah.
Have you got the gun with you?
Yeah, I take the gun with me.
I don't think it works underwater.
yeah. Should we perhaps...
They work underwater, don't they?
Maybe leave it on the shore with them? Or
Yeah, I'll leave it with these two.
Just in case there's still the deep lake lurker hanging about, maybe we just...
I'm holding the dream catcher. You hold the pistol.
I give it
Deal.
to... I was going to give it to Stacy.
It's a good move.
I give the gun to Stacy.
Yeah.
Great.
Holster
So,
and all.
Brandon, you step your feet into the water and it's immediately cold. A chill goes through your whole body. And you gain a condition. The condition is called the next victim. Wegs, you erase that condition for
Wow. Of course.
me. Of course, you don't know this. So you make your way wading down and you start looking around the areas of this circle, running your fingers through the silt, trying to have a look. Is there any item from your home that would help you in doing this, in finding these bodies?
That I have? No.
That anyone has?
The spice rack on my chest? Nah, probably not.
Salt. Doesn't salt get bad juju
That's not a bad
stuff like
idea.
It's a terrible idea.
that? Okay.
So, Brandon, you're going to roll this as a night move
Okay.
because it's a perilous circumstance. So it's still just going to be 2 dice, but I want you to tell me what's going to happen if you lose your nerve or if you fail at this.
Worst case scenario.
What are you afraid will happen?
I'm afraid that the lurker will come and take me down to the depths.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you how it's worse than that.
It could be worse?
I'm going to tell you that not only is it going to take you down to the depths, it's going to drag whoever's on the other end of that rope with it.
The tree that we're tied.
When you said before, I'm holding onto the other end of the rope, I thought to myself, I'm like, what if that could come back to haunt him?
Oh, it turns out it has.
So roll that for me as a night move.
11.
He has just rolled. a
That's the only success I've had this entire game.
We've been rolling so poorly
Oh my
until
god!
now.
I was actually kind of
Good.
I'm that emo that I was kind of hoping it would be the end. To be honest,
Gordon hates when he doesn't get to kill us.
I know.
So describe for me how that works. How does it go? Is it as simple as you run your hands through the silt and you brush a rib cage?
Basically, yeah. I start running, and our theories start to come true. I feel what feels like a femur, a rib cage, a skull, and as I start to sort of jiggle at least one of these most obviously human bones more than anything else, I start to find the remains of what we're looking for.
Mixed in that pile, you find the remnants of a woven bracelet. Is there something you can do to contain or destroy this thing?
The thing being the ritual
The,
side?
the lurker.
Oh, the actual creature.
Got a pistol and 6 bullets.
Not really.
Are we allowed to make up a theory based on the map and the markings and everything that would be used to spiritually destroy it?
You sure can.
Actually, just so on that, from my
I have a harpoon.
I have a howitzer. No, from my understanding, and I think our discussion, the ritual to get the lurker on board is actually really difficult, and it's not easy just to get the lurker out to interact or to be summoned. So maybe it's more about disrupting the ritual, maybe damaging the posts or breaking up the ritual circle rather than going after the lurker directly. What do you think?
Putting a bullet in Billy.
Well, that's
Well,
not
if he's the chief summoner, having him dead or in jail might help you. I'm not even here, mate. I'm just an
No.
omnipotent.
But so, from my perspective, it's more like summoning a lion. Like when the lion tamer is out, that changes nothing in the lion's world. The lion is still the lion. So I see the lurker as more something like that. Like you've already let the thing out of its cage. Do we need to try and get it back in the cage rather than deal with whoever's trying to summon it? So having said that, if Billy is fueling this thing and we can diminish it somehow, that might be the right moral choice.
It's an interesting take on it because you're worried about the big threat. And like I look at it of there's a bank vault with a incredible weapon that threatens to destroy the world, but only one person knows the code to the vault. And I say we can get rid of that one person. The weapon still exists, but it's without its power because no one can ever access the vault. But your take on it is, but we've left the weapon.
Yeah. No, but it's good. So what you're saying is a good immediate fix. Like getting rid of the person summoning this will buy us time, if nothing else.
And it buys the producers and the director a part 2.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose my argument would be, if the wild lion was still dangerous, then why has it been quiet for a dozen years?
Yeah, I agree. And
I think Billy makes it dangerous.
That's a
By
good
your
point.
theory.
That's a good point.
concur.
I also like our chances of defeating Billy over our chances of defeating.
If he can defeat that
The
revolver
lurker.
with 6 rounds, then yeah.
I don't like Stacey's chance of defeating a wet tea bag at this point. She's not shown herself to be particularly resilient.
I've got a dream catcher
It's true.
and a ukulele.
Oh, yeah.
So where is Billy right now?
And at that moment,
From outside the trees.
If you want to pursue the opportunity about following up on Billy, then someone needs to roll me a move. And again, I think it's an incredibly dangerous thing to do to try and plot a murder. So you have to roll me a night move. Because let's not sugarcoat it. That's what you're planning.
Yeah, and
let's not call it a murder.
Stacey's got the gun. You can roll.
It's more that we're, with malice aforethought, looking to kill Billy.
Looking to kill another human. Yep.
to save children.
Human.
You'd like a night roll?
Give me a night move roll. So tell me, before you roll, what do you think is the worst that can happen?
That everyone, Billy, whoever's assisting Billy, if it's other workers or whoever, everyone's one step ahead of me. And I go bursting in thinking I have the jump and I don't. And I am most certainly the next sacrifice.
I think it's worse than that.
How?
I think it's that you burst in and you are killed on the spot. And Daniel's the next sacrifice.
Aww. Roll well.
I never liked Daniel.
He was alright, wasn't he?
I'm going to give you a night move, but I'm hoping to use the gun. And I'm tipping he's not armed, so I'm pitching for an advantage here.
Okay. I'm not going to allow your Dreamcatcher to give you an advantage, though.
Oh, that's a shame. That means I get to use it later, though.
Roll with the gun. You can get an advantage for that. So 3 dice, pick the best 2.
A 6 and a 4, so I'll take a 10 as my outcome.
Are you ready for the most absolutely insanely unforgettably epic discount home renovation shopping experience of the year?
Yes.
Come on down to Dave's Discount Board Games and Taps and Tiles Emporium. We have board games and taps and tiles on sale, various brands and products. Business is so good I can afford this extremely highly produced ad on this world-renowned podcast. Insert name of podcast here. First-time shoppers at Dave's Discount Board Games and Taps and Tiles will receive a free a free Dave's Discount Board Games and Taps and Tiles bumper sticker located on Misery Street, Depressionville, in between the budget old folks care home and the discount butchers. Dave's Discount Board Games and Taps and Tiles. We have products for sale.
So you do what you intended. You hold steady. So describe for me how this goes.
Oh, this is horrible timing because I thought he was on his own in the office. And I burst through the front door and I'm shaking and I'm gripping the gun. My finger's already on the trigger. I've committed. And I can see he's talking to someone in the next office and I have no idea who it is. And he turns and he's shocked and he looks at me and he goes, "You, I thought I told," and then I go, boom, and I pull the trigger. And it kicks like a mule.
Billy collapses to the ground. And the screams immediately start from outside. There is utter bedlam and panic.
It was so loud.
So loud.
I didn't think it'd
Much
be that loud.
louder than you expected. And who was in the next office? Who was he talking to?
Maddie steps out and she's just shocked and she's staring at me and I'm holding the gun.
And did you say anything to her?
He was the monster. You need to believe me, Maddie.
And then, do you run or do you stay?
Call the cops. We've got children's bodies now to show them. It might help your defense.
Brandon and Ray, were you just hanging outside when this happened? Like what?
I
were you
was keeping the car
ritual
warm.
site?
You're a distant shot.
We're
This
like,
would be a perfect time for you both to walk in now behind me.
this is where we go. We don't know. We had no idea what she was going to do. No, I was going to say we're outside, and I'm hoping and confident that the discovery of these closing of these old missing person, dead children files will go somewhat, and with the explanation that we give, will go somewhat to show that we have sort of exigent circumstances here, which I don't know, it's almost like a self-defense, really. And a small town like this with dead children, I think we'll probably get off.
It'll be a cool line then that I say to Maddie, "I think I need to use your phone."
Yes.
And I lean over like his body that's slumped across the desk that he's fallen onto and I grab the handset for the telephone.
Ray, you're just in the car? Are you?
I was having a nap in the back seat. Like, what? You didn't kill Billy, did you? Yes, in solidarity with these two, I'm there to help try and shape the narrative, particularly knowing that when the cops get here, they're going to look at Brandon straight away and think, "You've come back to town and murdered a man who is, by all accounts, in good standing with the community." So we're going to have to do some very serious negotiating, maybe even threatening to a public release about.
I think showing them the skulls of dead children, saying that man did it, I think will alleviate.
What do you mean that man did it? Aren't they kids that were suspected of having drowned in the lake and you found their skulls?
No. Aren't we saying that? We're saying that Billy is
Oh, yeah,
a
we're
serial
saying
killer.
that. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why he's come back. And then, like we said, the photos on the wall
nice.
will show that over the years, and he's reopened the camp and already,
it's
People are
pretty
getting
good.
attacked.
Yeah, and we've solved these mysteries. It
a
might
cocktail of
overcome
evidence.
the family drama that
Yeah,
I'm having
okay.
at least
All right.
temporarily.
When I dial 911, I punch the buttons with the barrel of the revolver. But I hit the wrong buttons and I have to hang up and then lift up and then press it again.
912. Yeah.
Are you there when the police arrive, Brandon?
I'm down at the lake. Yeah,
Or you've gone back to the ritual site?
yeah. I've stayed there. I'm completely stuffing up all the forensics of it, and I'm just pulling. But still,
Blanket over your shoulders and a hot cup of cocoa
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
with the bones I found.
So, Stacey, you're calling them in and you're telling them the story? You're not running from this or hiding from
When
this?
they
anymore?
arrive, though, I am still gun in hand, standing in the middle of the office, and it takes them a good minute to convince me to put the gun down. But yeah, and then I do the 1,000 words a minute, pointing at frames on the wall, and the poor deputy that's turned up first is just like, what am I dealing with? Like, I just look proper crazy.
We should have instead got you to throw the gun down, come back, and we confronted him with the bodies, and he killed himself.
I asked the deputy to walk out.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"Wait, I've thought about it, walk out. Come back in.
I'm a bit
Give me
surprised.
30 seconds. I'll tell you when I'm ready.
Can I have a mulligan?
I'm a bit surprised you didn't set this up better. I thought this was going to be a clever ambush, but you just
We're
acted and
not-
plugged him.
This is how good of people we are.
Yeah, I
Because-
suppose.
And I'm like, Maddie, it was a suicide, wasn't it, Maddie?
Or Maddie.
Or is it a suicide? Or a murder-suicide, Maddie?
Yeah, so I'm just taking ages. They finally calm me down, and then I start hopefully coherently talking through the clues that I've uncovered with these two.
So the deputy is obviously taken aback by the story that you've told, and he's he seems at a loss for sort of what to do. But he does go over and check, like trying to do like first aid on Billy and see if he's alive and stuff. But Billy is very dead. He's, straight through the middle of his chest. He's been shot. But as the deputy's like searching him, he does pockets of his shorts, like looks through them, and he does find in there, tucked down the waistband of his pants, is a knife in a sheath, like a ritual knife with an eye symbol carved into the hilt of it. And in his pocket, he finds a stash of a couple of those wristbands that you saw in the picture here. Like it's an ongoing, perpetual signal. Like who knows if he was using them to give to the next person or something.
Years from now, the forensics will probably match that knife to some of the bones in there if they've got markings on them.
Nicks, stuff like that.
And the police roll down and they set up their little tent thing that they do, and the diver people go in and you see them start laying out bodies onto tarps. And it is a difficult day for you guys until that evening. Like the rest of the day is difficult. You're all separately interviewed and you're taken by the police and the detectives come in and everything. And they seem to accept in the end, and they work out, and there's all these huddled conferences between them, and they get statements of all the people who were there, including the people who were at camp with Billy when he was younger. But they seem to accept that this is a true thing. This is something that has happened. This is something genuine. Billy's legacy of sort of damage and danger to this camp becomes apparent in retrospect. All the stories of things that he wasn't quite right and all the things that went on. And the police they attribute all of the deaths to him directly. Obviously, they don't entertain that there's a monster itself. They attribute it to that a crazy man thought there was a monster and he did these murders thinking he was it or was summoning it, or like werewolf murders in the 1800s. It's unsatisfying for Jessica's family. But Harvey especially takes utter solace in the fact that this person has been punished, and secretly he's incredibly pleased that there's had to be no courts, there's had to be no defences, no trials, no calling his daughter's name again and again in the papers, and that this matter is solved. And the police in Deep Lake, being reasonably scandal averse and being used to a sort of history of slightly unusual things around town, make this disappear in pretty short order. And it's not long before you're back in the house on Road and Becker Street. You don't have a gun anymore, believe it or not. The police didn't want you to have that. And Brandon, I think the city detectives will have done most of your interviews and things, but you definitely saw your dad in passing. How did that go?
There was a look of initial disgust and upset at seeing me again for the first time. But I think I like to think or stylize in my mind that Harvey and was it Mary, even though were thankful of the police and walked past and were grateful to all three of us for giving closure to them and understanding what happened to Jessica, and their overwhelming thankfulness and grief and gratitude that was shown to us in front of my father, especially as they walked off, sort of saw him look at me a little bit differently. And I got the ever so slightest imperceptible nod as he walked off and joined the media scrum or whatever over by the police lines.
He's like, talk about the money later. But seems okay.
He seems not as scary anymore.
And Ray, how does being involved in killing a man go in with your sort of fairly pacifist attitude?
It's shaken me to my core. It's been a tough couple of weeks, the weird experience out on the lake, and just a whole unsettling thing. But if anything, my belief in the triumph of good over evil has been restored a little bit. And even if it had to end in bloodshed and violence, poor young ladies had to kill a man, at the end of the day, it's kept other children safe. And so my faith in the ability for good to triumph over evil is settled back in my heart.
You sort of believe in the moral absoluteness rather than the rule of law?
Yeah, it's less about complying with strict codes of law and doing. It's that versus the idea of doing what's right. And even if we have to sacrifice, if we aim to do what's right, then I can sleep at night.
Stacy, didn't seem in great shape after you shot a man in cold blood.
Ready for something that's pretty messed up?
Oh, hell yeah.
Stacy's feeling pretty good.
Oh no.
Stacy has struggled to have any control and power during all of this. And in one brief moment, when Stacy put a door in, pointed a gun at someone who was evil and pulled the trigger and put an end to them, for the first time in a very long time, Stacy felt like she was in control. So everyone's comforting her, and Stacy on the outside is playing it cool that she needs comfort, but on the inside, Stacy's feeling pretty good.
And do we think...
Stacy's going to be a murderer?
Well, not even a murderer, but
Evil?
when she's thinking about the whole, I had the gun and I was able to use the gun to murder someone. The gun's gone now, but I got the taste of power. And then she looks out over the lake and sees the ever so imperceptible slight breaking of the water of some type of creature. An idea forms in her head of, well, I don't need a gun to kill people.
This is dark, Fitz.
And then as it like zooms out and it's high in the air, you see the shadow of a talon over the lake.
Yes, yes.
I also have that talon tattoo now.
No.
They go very on the nose with it. It's also shaved to the side of my head.
Stacey, you go home and you're all home and you go into the shower and you wash the blood off you, and it's that classic thing of the steamed up mirror and got the towel wrapped around your head and everything, and you look out, there's this little window that goes out to a tiny little courtyard area next to the bathroom that's not much bigger than 3 foot square, and when you wipe the glare off the window, standing in that space that he couldn't possibly fit in is the big man. And the big man looks at you and he's got a friendly smile on his face. And he says, well, this patch of desert right here, what people in this century call Degoya County, it's an old place. Some might say it's the oldest place. Some say it's older than the sun. And he kind of smiles at you and he says, good luck, Stacy. And is gone. And we flash back to about 690,000 years before the birth of Christ. And on this plain, the great render of flesh, pleased with the wanderers for making copious sacrifices of blood and bone before his altar, gifts them with a titanic pillar made of screaming skin, infused with ancient magics, a weapon they can use in their fight against the fire cults, and to destroy them once and for all. And perhaps the big man was right that this is the oldest place that ever was. But we won't be finding out this week because the episode is over. And our time in public access solving the mystery of the Deep Lake Lurker has come to an end, even though there's plenty more mysteries left in the world.
How did we do?
Well, you killed a man. I'm not here to cast moral judgments. I like to think the big man is kind of my representative in the game, where he's not here to cast aspersions or judgments. He's just an observer. I think you did well. It was a good theory. I enjoyed it. I think your solution was both rash and conclusive, and I enjoyed that.
It was final at least.
And I really enjoyed that Ray didn't assault anyone and was friendly and giving. I enjoyed that Brandon got some degree of closure with his family backstory, and that Stacy found some degree of empowerment, although
What a character arc.
I'm greatly concerned about how she found it and what lessons she might take from it.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a problem for another day.
How she will use that empowerment.
Absolutely. Fitz, as Brandon.
Yes.
Thank you. I think it went well for you.
No, thank you. I enjoyed playing Brandon. He's a complicated fellow.
Yeah, he sounds like someone who wouldn't be much fun to spend time with.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But he did make a connection with Ray a little bit, which was
And with
nice.
Daniel.
And with
He'd been
Daniel.
firm friends with
and
Daniel.
with Daniel, despite society.
Daniel lived.
Yeah.
Daniel.
I think we're all relieved about that. Given he was vomiting tar in the first episode, I think we did okay.
Well, we cut back to Daniel for a brief moment. and
Oh, no.
Daniel
Please.
is
Please make him
sleeping
okay.
safely and soundly in his camp bed.
Yeah. His little
And-
catalogued rocks next to him.
There's a little basket of rocks next to him and his disposable camera ready on his pillow. And as he foretold, he's been the first to fall asleep. So tonight will not be the night that he gets to look out and look for the lurker. But on his wrist is a lovely woven little bracelet.
We saved him.
Well, he was next, it sounds like.
We saved him. I'm happy.
So there you go.
For now.
I'm thinking
Daniel's happy.
as Daniel stretches out and reaches and puts an arm under his pillow, the strange hard plastic, and he takes it out. It's an old VHS cassette.
Oh, no.
I was thinking more hopeful than that. I was thinking as he stretches, as he pulls his arm back into bed, it sort of serendipitously catches on a stray edge of the bed, and the
falls.
bracelet
Tears,
tears and falls to the
Yes.
ground.
Yeah.
And as the final police diver exits the water and walks back to take his gear off, he gains the trait, next victim. Because he was last in the lake.
Yeah, sorry, you touched it last.
I like to think Fitz, the creature I think is banished successfully, so you can erase that next victim trait.
yeah.
I think there is no next victim.
Yeah, that's fitting.
Some random dude.
Some bloke. Oh, just 1 week till retirement.
Yeah.
Got a wife and 3 kids at home.
You know, honey, it's my last job.
Ray, I don't think there was as much growth for you, but I think you sunk into the pits and then returned to
Yeah.
equilibrium.
Yeah, and on a more meta level, I think more than any other game we've maybe played, I would love to revisit this game and these characters again.
Well, Mike's
Too
shaking
scary.
his head because Mike is frightened.
I think
Oh,
we do
true.
comedy well, and I think this game is too scary, and I may never sleep again.
Mike will not sleep tonight.
It's more the way that we bounce off each other. You wouldn't think like a geeky IT girl, a mega emo goth kid, and a schlubby short order cook would kind of fit together as an efficient tactical monster hunting team. But we did all right. I think we did well.
Stacey? Didn't even hear about your grown tubes apart from the noise.
I had done so much prep on Goosebump books, didn't use them, didn't talk about my board game, didn't talk about my grown tubes.
You talked about the man with the Polaroid camera that saw the future in Goosebumps.
Yeah, you gave me a really negative response to that I shelved the other 6 or 7 that I had. There was Monster Blood 2, there was
just going to be a whole episode of just you describing Goosebumps.
I could have
Yeah.
talked for hours on Slappy had someone brought it up, but
This was going to be the Goosebump review half hour.
Well, to go with Slappy was book number 7, Night of the Living Dummy, which is about the ventriloquist dummy. Slappy.
Now, if you have a favourite Goosebumps book, make sure you jump on the Discord and we'll talk about that on there.
And tell me why it's Monster Blood 2.
It's one for debate. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. I have enjoyed myself, although these guys have creeped me out and I have to reassess some of my friendships with them. This has been Public Access. This is episode 4. This is the final episode of this particular run.
Jump in our Discord and hang out with us. We have a channel Discord for Flashing Badger painting, but we talk about podcasts, book nooks, PC gaming, everything in there. So come be a part of it and shape the narrative for the podcast to come.
Absolutely. This is, it's a channel for everyone on there. As I said, this game is made by Jason Cordova and published by The Gauntlet Games. If you do want a copy, it's available on DriveThruRPG. It's basically pay what you want. But if you use our affiliate link still, it helps show that you like us and you want us to get a fraction of a cent of whatever it is that you pay. I don't think it's anything. Anyway, either way, it shows support. Thank you very much. We love you all. Jump on, give us a 5-star review if you can. We would appreciate it greatly. Tell your friends, and we'll see you back here next time for a brand new RPG.
That's what you say about everything.
Catch you next time. Bye.
Flashing Badger.